Hey everybody, and welcome back. My name is Dion. This is D Maria Reacts. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I would love to have you all here, hanging out with me as I check out what's going on in the news. There is always something going on in these news streets. So, one of the first things I wanted to check out is coming up next. This is the view from earlier today. Let's jump on in.
Revenge of the 6th? On the 4-year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection that was once condemned by the 45th president.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country.
He's just hours away from being certified as our 47th president.
I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election.
Was his change of heart about that day key to his victory?
It will be my great honor to pardon the peaceful January 6th protesters, or, as I often call them, the hostages.
Let's start with this. Happy New Year, everybody. We love you too. That's why we keep coming back.
Today is Three Kings Day. El
It
Día de
is.
los Reyes Magos.
It's also the celebration of La Bufana, the witch in Italy. There's a whole lot going on around
Puerto
the world.
Rico is having
That's
a
right.
good time today.
That's right. That's right.
Today is my grandmother's birthday. Happy birthday, Grandma! Heavenly birthday, that is. Woohoo!
And it's the 4th-year anniversary of the D.C. rally based on false claims of election fraud that blew up into the January 6, 2021 insurrection. Now, hours from now, Vice President Harris will fulfill her duty to certify the 2024 election. And she gave this message to the American people. Take a look.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles.
Be on your best behavior. Be on your best behavior because the inevitable is on the way through the door. So just accept it and behave yourselves.
President Biden also penned an op-ed warning about the unrelenting effort to rewrite and even erase the history of that day. So is that what happened here? I mean, we all watched.
Yep.
I think most of us saw.
I don't understand why they are just insistent on keeping up this charade, because obviously the American people did not fall for this mess, because Trump won by a landslide, no matter how they try to downplay it and pretend like that wasn't the case. But why they insist on embracing this stupid narrative of January 6th, and we're going to get to it, because I want to see the part where Sonny Houston is comparing it to literal, true atrocities that have happened on the world stage. It's just utterly ridiculous. I'm going to try to get to that part coming up here next. Let's see. Let me bring back and share my screen again. But I just had to say that because for the life of it's like you're being told that, well, never mind that part. Oh, my nose, that just don't start. Coming on back. Come on back. sure. Properly aligned. Okay.
I mean, some folks still say that's not what happened, but you know,
it's not what happened.
What do we do?
I think we need to find moral clarity, you know, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, you know, we need to move on from January 6th. Mm-hmm. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And
okay, so here it comes. Here comes the foolishness.
When you think about the worst moments in American history, you know, like World War II.
See what she's comparing it to? This is what Sonny Houston is comparing what happened at the Capitol January 6th, 4 years ago. This is what she's comparing it to.
Things that happened, you know, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery. We need to never forget.
Now, so I want to look at, you know, because Democrats are always claiming the moral high ground, which is utterly ridiculous because they're exactly the opposite. Everything they accuse, for instance, Donald Trump of, or any of his supporters, they were in the act of doing at the time of accusation. So I wanted to take a look back at what happened Inauguration Day when Trump won the first time.
Not everyone gathered here in Washington today came to celebrate President Trump's inauguration. Protesters lined part of the parade route, and in some parts of the Capitol, there were confrontations with police. And tomorrow here in Washington, a women's march and demonstrations planned across this country. ABC's David Curley witnessed the protests firsthand.
The anger reaching a boiling point in the nation's capital after President Trump took the oath of office. Police in riot gear facing off against the protesters just 6 blocks from the inaugural parade. Unleashing pepper spray, concussion grenades, all to disperse the crowd.
They've been using pepper spray out of canisters. So you have the bulk of the protesters right here, and here's the police line right at 13th.
Trash cans, and then 3 vehicles set on fire.
2 vehicles have been ignited. The fire.
Trash cans set on fire, vehicles set on fire. It was a lot going on back then. That was 7 years ago.
Folks that just moved in.
Many of the protesters cloaked in black with their faces covered.
The protesters had filled the street with several trash cans, and now police and fire are trying to move them out of the way.
Earlier in the day, self-proclaimed anarchists smashed Washington storefronts with hammers. Across the country, there were other but peaceful protests in dozens of cities from Boston to Minneapolis. These people forming a human chain across the Golden Gate Bridge.
And you can hear the choppers actually flying over us tonight. David Curley joined us from Franklin Square. David, what's the scene like right now?
Well, the crowd is largely dispersed, David. Just a couple of dozen still here, but police are standing their ground, standing their line with batons in hand. More than 217 protesters arrested, 6 police officers injured, David.
So while they pretend like, oh, we always do a friendly transfer of power, blah, 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 they were cutting up back then. Their side was cutting up. And I bet none of them got jail time. Pitiful. Anyway, moving on. So let me just run this once again. I mean, just the utter stupidity.
Move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, you know, like World War II, things that happened, you know, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery. We need to never forget because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
If that's not the most idiotic thing I've ever heard come out of her mouth. So the other thing I wanted to take a look at was the fact that Justin Trudeau the Prime Minister of Canada, did something shocking today. Let's check this out. Let's go to this.
We're seeing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau step up to the microphone now. Let's listen in.
Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Wowzers. So, there you have it. Because it has been buck wild up there in Canada the last couple weeks. So, this is what it's come to. Now, we all know what Trump would like to do with Canada, which is make Canada part of the United States of America. So, this is all very interesting. Wow, the implications, they far outnumber what I'm even aware of. But this is pretty amazing news. So, the other thing that happened in news for today, which is January 6th, that's the time that I'm filming this, is that Kamala Harris had to certify the election win of Donald Trump for 47th President of the United States. I just couldn't imagine losing and then I have to be the one to certify, but she behaved herself. She held up pretty good. So let's take a look at that from earlier today. And there's a reason I said that she behaved herself. She held up pretty good because, people were folks get to talking like they do on the World Wide Web. And saying things like Kamala's not going to certify and there's going to be an upstart and blah, 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 blah. Well, everything went very smooth today and I'm happy for that. We don't need any more drama. Okay, let's just get past all the foolishness and get on to Donald Trump completing his last run of the presidency. And get this country back on track.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote.
Look at Mike Johnson. Did y'all see Mike Johnson? His facial expression was hilarious.
For President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes. This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected, President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2025, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the House and the Senate. Thank you very much.
I done my job. Let me out of here. So, anyway, that's what we had for today. So yeah, so that's what's been going on in the news today. All quite interesting. I myself spent the day at home. We had a snow day from work. So most of the day I was bored. And then finally I got some house things out of the way. And I decided, let me get up and film because a lot of things went down today. So thanks so much, y'all, for coming by and hanging out with me and sharing my reaction. Before you leave out, please remember, if you gain value from this video and you are enjoying my content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And when you hit that subscribe button, you will have the option to press the bell so that you receive all notifications whenever I drop a video. I thank you so much for hanging out with me here at D. Maria Reacts, and blessings to you. Happy New Year to you. Grace and peace, and I will see you soon.